All right, so round one of CM just ended. Oh, it's still ongoing, but I finished all my races. So it has ended for me, and this is the ace I'm using. I'm doing solo ace special week, um, with two dominators, and I think there's quite a lot of synergy with dominator and special week because like the debuffs, the speed debuffs at least, they help me proc my unique in the late race, which is very nice. It feels very good because I have to overtake and um, just yeah. If the people in front of me are slower, then it's a lot easier to hit this. And really, the name of this game, this CM, is like run as far as possible in the mid race and just hit redshift. Um, which means it's very hard to win if you're not in top five. I would say, uh, top six it's possible with like this, and if you have let's pump some iron, like you can win. But I think top five is a much better position, and honestly, like I think two, three, and four are just as strong as five, even if this hits like more instant excel. Because really, the more excel you get, like the more diminishing returns also that each additional excel provides. So you do have to balance like the excel with velocity skills. Like don't just buy every single excel. You need a lot of velocity skills also. And look at this build, right? I have two speed greens, which bumps me up to 1320, and with medium S is like 1440 speed, which is an obscene amount of just speed. And I mean, it kind of upsets me that like these speed greens are so strong on this track because it's really upsetting to watch a room match and you just lose to someone with three speed greens that are all double circled. Um, like it doesn't really feel like you got outplayed there. I think playing for these velocity skills is a lot more fun, just personally. Um, but yeah, I missed Dumastan. Honestly, I didn't think this ace would be too strong. Like I did like 100 runs or something, and I got like some UG, some SS plus. The UG one was medium A, and at first I was going to make an end closer, but I ended up switching to late surger. Because I felt like it was actually more consistent. Like I know in theory end closers should be stronger than late surgers, especially with the fact that Daring Strike is out now. Um, but there were a lot of benefits that I saw with playing late surger, and and obviously the main one is like you start ahead of end closers. When I was doing a solo end closer, what would happen a lot is if I had a lobby with like three or more late surgers, which happens very often actually, like insanely often. Their most lobbies are multiple late surgers, multiple end closers, and it was very hard to get into top five. Like even if you proc Daring Strike, like considering like the idea that Daring Strike is better mid race, and that the at the end of mid race end closers have higher speed than late surgers, um, that they should overtake late surgers, but when there's a wall of five late surgers, it's really fucking hard to overtake them. And you're also relying on Daring Strike proccing like not at the very end of mid race where it like yes you get speed carryover, but your mid race is kind of shot because there's actually very few skills that are available to end closers in the first place. Um, and another advantage was that if I played end closer, I would be borrow locked to Mr. CB Wit. Whereas here I can actually borrow Narita Top Road and get Firm Course Menace, which is an insanely strong skill here. Like pretty much everyone should try to get this skill. And also this deck is 70 race bonus. It lets me run 70 race bonus, and if I just do a ton of races, I can get an insane amount of SP and just buy a lot of skills, which is very good. And yeah, I missed Dumastan. I have 3 of these double circles. These are always good. I tried a deck with like, well, I tried multiple decks with Kirasan Black because I figured like if I want better mid race, I should get Professor of Curvature, things like that. Should try to get Fast and Furious, but there's kind of an issue with Fast and Furious and like position filter where it only procs from 6th to 9th place. And gambling, you're like spending a lot of SP on a gold skill that doesn't proc all the time because it's position dependent feels very bad. And so what I figured is buying more white skills is actually a lot better. And there was another problem where I did a lot of testing. I watched like 500 room matches, and it felt like Professor of Curvature in particular felt like it was just very weak. Because if it procced on like the early corners, first or second corner, and let's say you're at the back, you proc Professor of Curvature, but because it's on Tokyo Racecourse and the corners are so wide, you can't really overtake someone, and that just felt awful. I would watch Professor of Curvature proc and just gain 0 lengths, 0 positional like advantage. It was like, why did I even buy the skill? It just didn't feel good to use. And if I was not at the back and I did proc Professor of Curvature, then I would just run down the inner lane and just run way too far and then pace back down, and then again I would get no value because it's a gold skill. It has like you push a lot further than using a white skill, but also its duration is like a lot shorter than these. These are all 3 seconds, well, Curvature is 2.4 seconds, and even the fact that it can potentially proc twice is like actually kind of not that relevant on this track because it very rarely does so. I don't think it procced twice a single time in all of my testing. So for that, I ended up just dropping Kirasan Black. It didn't feel good to use just like both in career because it was like a lot harder to raise my speed. And yeah. And I figured out like, okay, this skill is insanely good because it basically picks a random uphill on the track and then it will proc at the start of that uphill. And it's always at the start. Like consistently, it is programmed to proc at the start of an uphill. It just picks an uphill at random. And there's 3 uphills on this track. And one of them is at the very start, right out of the gate. The gate is on the uphill itself. So you have a 1 in 3 chance to proc this out of the gate and just completely skip the like pace down mode. The early pace down mode, you completely skip it. It's way stronger than Umastan if it hits. Like, it is actually insane. And this actually comes up a lot in rooms where you see a lot of like front runners and like, let's say a room is 5 front runners and 1 end closer. In that room, I wouldn't be able to proc Umastan in the first place, even if I had it. And because the pace is too fast, it's very hard to catch up to the front and try to get into top 5. It's actually kind of impossible. And if it's like a gold chip behind you and she has like Daring Strike anchors away, you can't really outrun gold chip. Gold chip is very hard to deal with. But proccing this at the gate start in those lobbies pretty much gives you a much better chance to win. Like a very, very good chance to win, actually. And for that, that's like another main reason I switched to 8 Surger over End Closer. Also, End Closer is like, I think if you don't have a mid-race unique, it's a lot harder to deal with. I think Digiton can get away with like running End Closer with her home stretch unique because she has super stand, but for special week, because her innate kit has like a home stretch skill and her unique is also a home stretch skill, it was very hard to play the mid race as an end closer. So yeah, and just going over the kit, like this, I think is also a very strong skill. I think it's as required as CC. Having these two skills is so valuable, and I think it's like honestly fine that I missed Uma Stan because I didn't buy any like gold velocity skills apart from this, which is a home stretch, and this, which is also home stretch. Um, it's actually very rare that I pace down. Because even if I proc like a good amount of skills early and I'm way ahead of other backliners, I have good skills to break me out of PDM if that happens. Fighting Spirit is the main one. If I ever PDM and I fall back down into the pack, I just have to get side blocked and I proc Fighting Spirit. And then that breaks me out. And it helps me keep a forward position. It helps me keep top 5, which is really important. Really the main of the name of the game for late surgers is start ahead of gold chip and just defend your position as much as possible. Which is also why I got up tempo. Up tempo, it only procs like 40% of the time, maybe less, but I think it's insanely good because of those cases where you're too far forward and you're in danger of pacing down. Up tempo can randomly proc and just save you, and or like stall the position keep for another like one of these skills to proc, or straight away a that, right? Just any velocity skill, if it procs during position keep, like it will at least prevent pace down mode, which is very valuable. Which is why I highly encourage you to buy the skill as a late surger or end closer. And yeah, that's basically the build. And I didn't think it would be like insanely strong. This is not a very high roll run. I am also quite overstand, but I think it's fine as a solo ace player. I do need insurance against debuffers, and the guts is quite low, the wit is quite low. But from testing other like max wit Umas, I think it's actually fine to have only this much. Because it didn't feel like pace up mode actually was that strong. Especially because the pace of most lobbies is quite slow because there's very few front runners. And even if you do run a front dominator, which I did, I tried front dominator with taking the lead. That would not help at all with trying to prevent pace down. So I just switched her to pace chaser because I needed her to die earlier in the mid race or late race, to at least help me proc my unique and get into top 5. But yeah, like there's other solo A special week players out there that are like SS plus UG. I've seen a lot of like UG Spechan builds. But really the main thing I did was like just be careful with the skills that I bought. I avoided buying any gamble excels. Well, this is kind of a gamble excel, like this doesn't actually hit very often. But things like on your left, take the chance, those are very expensive. They're never worth buying. On your left is like obscene in terms of just how bad that skill is. If you go on Hakuraku here, search on your left. Okay, help. This is like such a bad win rate. This is all for the Derby room matches, right? 122,000 races recorded. 1.9% win rate. This skill is awful. Because especially on this track, if you're not in top 5, you lose. If you are not in top 5 and you're able to proc on your left, first of all, you have to hit like a 1 in at least 20 chance for it to insta proc. You're still probably losing because you have to still catch up to at least 5 people who hit redshift, which is very hard. It's really hard to catch up when everyone hits redshift. Um, Especially the longer the track, the more like that stacking excels is less valuable. So even like a 0.4 is still not enough to catch up to just redshift. Um, so yeah, please never buy on your that skill is so bad. Anyway, here's me revealing my results. I've been stalling too long. Holy shit. I couldn't believe this. Of all the solo ace special weeks, this is the highest win rate, and I'm in disbelief. This build has been performing so well, and even with like a lower grade and like than other people, she's just doing a lot better. And I think it's mostly because I just was very careful in picking out which skills were worth buying for me. Um, and it's just insane. And I'll show you the day 1 results. You see, I only lost 2 races, which means day 2 I went completely undefeated. I won 20 in a row, and I don't know what to say. And the 2 losses were like quite unlucky. One was just a bad queue. Like it was a very good players. Like I knew the player and I kind of tagged them. And they had like a solo ace Sakura Chiyono UG rank. She got lucky pace. There was really not much I could do. I think she had angling and scheming, redshift. Yeah, I just couldn't catch up, which was fine. I was fine with losing that. And the other was like a Ogre Cap Triumphant Pulse, and I was about to win. And then Spichan, she overtook the Oguri right before the 200-meter mark, like less than 10 meters before. And she didn't get to proc her own Triumphant Pulse. The other Oguri got to proc Triumphant Pulse, and then she won. Just extremely unfortunate. Because I very much could have won that. And yeah, I think yesterday, like, I won my first ticket. I did my first ticket, I got 5 wins. I was like, I think I can get 20. And then I kind of waited a bit until I did the rest of my tickets, and I came back for them. I just kept winning over and over and over, and I was like, holy crap. And then when it got to the last race, it was like 6 front runners. I was like, what the hell? What the hell? This is, I'm just gonna show it. This is crazy. I saw 6 fronts. They're all like SS plus. And it didn't show on the right because it kind of showed my home screen at the start for some reason when I was recording. But I procced 1.5 million CC at gate start, which I kind of screamed. I was like, holy shit, I can win. It's actually possible. Like, this is a Pace Chaser Rudolph. I'm keeping up with a Pace Chaser, and I'm definitely gonna overtake her later. And yeah, this was definitely like one of the scariest lobbies I've seen, because I was like, okay, even if I overtake this Rudolph, I probably don't have any Excel, which is really bad. I can't proc most of my skills. I can't proc Fighting Spirit. I can't proc up tempo. Like, my mid race is gonna struggle quite a bit. And even here, like, I'm just watching a lot of skills not really happen. And it's kind of like, this looks rough still. But through some kind of miracle, he still ended up winning. This Pilfer was like, yeah, I got speed carryover. This laser corners did nothing because it was in the Excel zone. This medium corners was still mostly in the Excel zone, but it was enough to, like, late enough to actually still have some value. As its Nimble Navigator doesn't really do anything, and now I proc Unique. And I start dueling, and I realize, well, I'm actually really close to the front runners, and I should definitely win this race at this point. And I was kind of just like in disbelief. This is crazy. This was quite a roller coaster. I had a very lucky start. Like my mid race was definitely hard carried by the fact that I procced 1.5 million CC at gate start, because it's just an unbelievable skill. It's like what people think Fruit Step does, it does that, but way better. And even if it misses, you have a strong either mid race skill or home stretch skill, which is quite nice. And the funny thing is, all of yesterday, I didn't proc Triumphant Pulse a single time. Which means I was just either in first place at 200 meters pretty much every time. There was one race where I was not in first place when it was supposed to proc, and she just missed the wit check, and I was like, ah, man. But yeah, I don't know. I'm doing amazing. I hope she can carry this performance into round 2. I'm a bit nervous because it's still like I've had a couple races where I was not able to hit like an Excel, but I was still able to win just through raw stats. But I think that's gonna be a lot harder in round 2, and I do expect to lose a lot more. Just because it's gonna be a lot harder to get into top 5, and top 5 is quite a harsh condition to meet. Just because there's actually very little you can control. So yeah, I'm just hoping for the best. I hope I can finish with like at least 85% win rate. I would be very happy. Anyway, that's it for me. Bye bye.